Clarity only comes after action because you only learn from what you've done. I'm going to break down this very clear argument into 5 steps. What it is, how it applied, give you some experience here, what I learned, what you can learn, and then how to apply it. The first fundamental truth behind understanding clarity coming after action is understanding what clarity is and understanding what action is. You need a fundamental definition for both to make a clear argument here. Clarity, in this case, is the ability to punctually understand the past. In order to have the past, you must do things. So we will say the ability to understand the past, and action is doing things. If you do not do things, then you will not understand how to act in the future from your past. That's okay if you don't act. You just won't understand what to do next. You can also take other people's actions as clarity because actions look backwards and decisions move forwards. Your understanding of a situation, it will come from the volume of action in that scenario. Now, how this applies is, for me as an entrepreneur, the volume of actions I take has made my experience as I'm building this company. And the process of doing hard things every day, 12 to 14 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week for 2.5 years, has cultivated my knowledge set to understand what's next from what I did. For example, let's say getting people on the phone. In order to get people on the phone, you must first understand what they want or why they take the call. Then you must simplify into something that is easy to read. Everybody wants everybody's attention, but what gets them interested? Sometimes it's time savings, sometimes it's money made, sometimes it's a promise, sometimes it's something unique. It depends on the person and what your goal is. But these underlying intentions only come from either studying psychology, which is looking backwards at other people's actions with sentences, or from actions themselves. Copywriting is a skill, and so is recording VSLs. Like, hey, this is Luke Ashenbrand. I built an operating system for investors. I want to help you automate the day-to-day so you can focus on the best companies tomorrow. Let's get on the phone and talk. This level of detail with a VSL or with copywriting is immediately needed for you to get people on the phone as a first step. Marketing is another thing. Being able to understand thoughts and what people listen to is immediately necessary for you to get people on the phone. Another thing that you may not think about is branding. How do you make yourself look right on the internet? How do you correctly capture the value that you create? And how do you make it so the world knows? These things all require a volume of actions or the studying of other people's actions. And then with clarity, you can act with efficiency. And the efficiency comes from spending less time to get more output. Now, that's on the entrepreneurial sense. In the personal sense, I spend a lot of time meditating and understanding why things happen because I seek to grow and I seek to learn. The universe gives you what you need to know. It is your choice to take it, but the volume of action to learn, for me, is isolating to feel and think freely without disturbance from the outside world. The volume of action around spiritual expansion has allowed me to come to ideas like this. Videos like this came from meditation, and the clarity of how to tell the story of clarity coming after action came from me meditating about the best way to tell you the truth. The people sense of how to best get to know people and what questions to ask and how to listen better and be interesting and evolve to make sure that you can be you with everybody only came from having thousands of conversations. And I intentionally took my first job out of school so I could only talk to people. Given that I thought talking to people was a weakness of mine, I thought the best way to solve it was to talk to as many people as possible. And I am very glad that I did, because I wouldn't have the confidence to be talking to you today about the actions that I took unless I took those actions. I can even take this a step further about clarity. One time, I ran a nonprofit, or Princeton's chapter of a nonprofit, to help raise money for rare disease research. At the last practice before the last game of the year, I got to tell the team about what we were doing to support children with rare diseases because of their efforts and our efforts. My first time doing it, I spun in a circle. I couldn't talk to the team straight up. I was nervous, red-faced, and unable to present my point, which was we started doing great things for great people. Some of my teammates will even tell you it was pretty embarrassing. And in order to grow, I thought theater would be the best way to express myself in front of a crowd. And I was scared of speaking to a crowd beyond belief. It was one of my biggest fears when I was in college. So I took it on the chin. I did a play, and then I did a second play, then I did a third play, and then I practiced my walk, and then I practiced my talk, and then I practiced my accents, and then I practiced the character. And these pieces all came together to have that clarity around how to publicly speak to people. Fortunately, I got a chance to do it again. Came back from a really bad concussion, the last practice we ever had as a team, and my last football practice ever. I got to talk to the entire team again about the things we were doing at a football game for the last game of the year to raise money for rare disease research. I didn't stutter. I didn't make a mistake. And it came off very smoothly. And it wasn't a big deal to everybody else, but it was a really big deal to me because I just conquered my biggest fear with a volume of action and had clarity about what to say when speaking to everybody again. Now, when people invite me to speak, I'm happy to speak. I've developed the skill through a volume of action to not have fear when talking to people. The point is, I didn't have the clarity about how to hold conversations until I made the necessary actions to do so. And then looking backwards, I knew how to move forwards when speaking to a group of people. What you can learn from this is to take your fears head on. Most people have thoughts that interfere with their ability to act. And if you do not challenge your thinking, then you won't have the volume of action necessary to have clarity about how to move forward. Your actions get better over time because your clarity becomes clear. That's kind of the point of becoming clear. If you do not understand what is within you, then you will not make the necessary volume of actions to have clarity. And if you do not make those actions and study other people's actions, you will learn, but not in the same way. If you do not apply other people's experience to your life and immediately start with actions, then you will not be in a point of pure clarity. You learn from the actions. You learn from the mistakes. And mistakes only come when you act enough. I don't think the world is meant to be perfect. I think the world is meant to learn with you. And if you do not learn with the world because you do not act, then you will not have clarity. Clearly, you are here to understand why you don't do something. But first step to apply it is just do things. If you do not do things, then you will not know how to make it better moving forward. Because the first step is to take on your fear and do the thing. Just know that you have all that you will ever need, and you are capable of doing anything. If you'd like to be clear about what to do moving forward, you must move forward by taking the first step, doing a thing. I will never forget how scared I was standing in front of my teammates trying to talk about how we help kids with rare diseases. I will never forget the first time I stepped on a stage and tried to perform a play. I will never forget what happened the second time when I got a bloody nose in front of 1,500 people watching a digital play. I won't forget these things, but those gave me clarity about how to talk and how to move and how to walk and how to be. And that action will lead to an unbelievable amount of clarity. You have it within you. Go get it done. See you in the next one.